game, look, I can't do this.
Where are you going to go
game
to afterwards?
after this other
Got to
game.
go quickly.
So you have to
Freemen's
kind of prepare for
assignment.
that, because
Okay.
if I had gone in, I could do it.
Well, hold on to that. I'll be back. Okay.
So you have to have the discipline as well, and be able to tell, that, look, I'm not going to be able to do this, let's reschedule.
You could do the kid's voice with me.
I smoker.
Yeah, exactly.
I go in and because I'm method, I just scream until I'm coughing up squealer. And then I go again because I'm a man.
If it's green squealing, it's viral. If it's yellow squealing, it's bacterial.
It's so hard to tell I'm a mic, so it just kind of gets great.
Because I'm a man.
You know what? Actually, I'll be honest. Is that when it says strenuous vocal sessions for this game, for this character, I don't audition anymore. Part of it is because, as the old guy here, I started looping way back in the early '90s, and I was with a group that was connected to this one studio, this one post house, and it got all these action movies, these B action movies, where it was just people screaming and war and all of that. And when you're looping, you're actually not even doing characters, you're just screaming for 4 hours in that session. And after a few years of that, I decided not to. And I'm not good at my squeala, and I'm not good at, and I know there's all these techniques or what have you, but my voice sits so low anyway that I always end up hurting myself eventually. So I look for the easy route, which is why I do, voices like Legion and Jason. I would do things right in my sweet spot so that I could basically phone it in and get paid. Thank you.
Anyone back here? Anyone in the back?
I'm just gonna get
Do theater.
It's funny that you ask that, because it's the most common question I get is how do I get into voice acting? And while it's a very easy question to ask, the answer is very complicated, because each of you is an individual person, you all have different backgrounds. You will find that the majority of voice actors have a theatrical background. I would say probably 75 to 80% of voice actors tend to come from the theater. The rest of them usually come from radio or something else. That's actually why I started my podcast on voice acting, which is called Voice Acting Mastery. And I have some little cards here if you want to check out the website and whatnot, and I'll be handing them out during my autograph session as well. On the podcast, I start off with sort of what it takes to be a voice actor, and then I tell in great detail my path to becoming a voice actor. And I've been running the podcast now for about 2 years. And so I try to really go through it and tell you what it takes to work, what it takes to actually do it as a professional when you're trying to do this voice acting thing and get paid, and so that's the idea behind it. But in general, what you're going to find is people are going to say, you need to be an actor. And what does that mean? It means you need to be able to play pretend as a character, right? And not just in a playful way, but in a professional way, right? Acting is playing pretend. Professional acting is playing pretend so believably, we will pay you to do it. Right? Think about that for a moment. You're going to play pretend so believably, we will pay you to do it. That's an art, that's craft, and you have to sort of work at sort of figuring that out. So my advice to you would be totally check out my podcast. I try to go through it in great detail about it. But it's free. It's a free podcast.
Listen, resources like that when they're free, grab it, eat it up. If you're really
Grab it, yeah. Seriously, this is. We live in a day and age now where you can actually go and get, write word from the horse's mouth. Okay.
Like a horse.
It's not Sarah Jacobs in your department. But yeah, seriously, I mean, go online and Crispin does. He's got a tremendous resource online with his podcast and with his website that can teach you all kinds of things.
Yeah. So yeah.
And I never get that question. So no. I would say, looks like again the podcast thing. The thing that I would always throw. I think again, I have a theatrical background, but again, for me, it was accidental. You have a nice voice, you should do voiceover. You have a nice voice, you should do voiceover. And so finally, at one point, I found a non-union agent who said, oh yeah, I'll sign it, and then I got a 900-line commercial, and it just kind of goes from there. But the video game stuff was accidental. I don't even know. I think it came literally from looping, because it was at the studio, somebody had me come in and audition for something that turned out to be a game. I didn't realize it. Things just evolved from there, and that's a lot of it is just serendipity. But you have to have something to begin with, and that's with the setting and whatnot. And I always say singing classes, improv classes, acting classes. If you can get into those three things, you'll have the basis for it. And then at that point, if you're looking for a career, then it's determined. A lot of people go, well, I just want to do voiceovers for video games, and that's it. You really can't make a great living just doing that. You're going to want the other stuff too. And then it's about location. Where are you? What kind of? Because even if you're going to do it here in Orlando, there's only so much opportunity. If you're going to go to Atlanta, then there's even more. If you're going to go to New York, way more. LA, way more. That kind of thing. Podcast.
Yes, podcast, voiceactingmastery.com. You can also get to it from CrispinFreeman.com. There's a link there, but Voice Acting Mastery, you can listen to it right there on the website. You can also subscribe in iTunes and have it automatically download through iTunes. I think you will find it useful.
They'll even come over to your house and just reenact it if you'd like as well. But you have to ask nicely. We have 5 minutes left, so I guess we've got time for one more question.
Forty-two.
I'll start this time. You said one word answer. That's not a word answer, but I'll try to make it really quick. And you can make a living just having a home studio.